Right everyone, it is Finn here and welcome to my Champions League Round 6 prediction video, also known as the final game of the group stage for this Champions League season. And obviously, it has gone down to the wire for some of these teams, I'm not gonna lie, and there's a lot of pressure for some teams to get wins here. For example, looking at this group right here, if things don't go in Barcelona's favour, we could be seeing them in the Europa League, which I mean, if you told Barcelona fans in the beginning of the season that they would have a shot to win a European trophy, I think they would have been pretty happy, but to be in the Europa League, they'll obviously be hoping not to. Also looking at other groups like this, I mean, between Porto, AC Milan and Atletico Madrid, it has all gone down to the wire, and they all have to give up huge results in the final match week of the group stage. Obviously, they have to get wins if they want to go through to the next round of the Champions League, and it is insane to think of one of these three teams not even playing European football after this match week, and one of them being in the Europa League. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, Champions League match week 6 is going to be insane because some huge teams could be missing out. But without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into the predictions, and obviously looking at some of the games we have to look out for. Obviously these are reverse fixtures, every team has played each other already, and there are some big games to look out for. Obviously some teams have already qualified for the next stage, so they might be playing second string kind of teams. I really hope not, because I do like it when teams put their best teams forward. They like to be as competitive as possible. There's a bit of pride behind it. But just jumping straight into the predictions, as we can see, I mean, point-wise, I've done fairly well so far this Champions League season. I mean, I missed match week 5, I didn't make a video on it. I can't necessarily remember why, I think I was busy. But match week 6, jumping into the first game, PSG versus Club Bruges. Now obviously we know Club Bruges, they can steal points from the Giants from time to time, but bottom of their group at the moment, if they want to go into the Europa League, they are going to have to get a point here. Do I see it happening? Not necessarily. I mean, PSG, although they haven't had the best season, although they are missing the likes of good old Neymar,
another one,
I can only see them winning this one. I mean, maybe not. As I said, they have gone through to the next stage. Maybe they won't be looking to play their best players. They won't be looking to get the likes of Messi and Mbappe, players like that. They don't want to risk an injury. But as I said, I think regardless, PSG should end up getting a win. Looking at RB Leipzig versus Manchester City, obviously you have to remember, in the reverse fixture, it was a massive 6-3 win to Manchester City. Could we see a lot of goals this time around? Once again, it is very possible. Obviously, RB Leipzig, they have got a lot of injuries in their team at the moment. The entire spine of their team is injured, from strikers all the way to defenders. So I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of RB Leipzig chances here, but looking at Manchester City, if they want to play a second string team, once again, they are through to the next stage. They have won their Champions League group stage. I mean, at the end of the day, even Manchester City's second string team could probably win most European leagues. They are that good in terms of their squad depth. Once again, I would like to see Manchester City put pride behind it and still try to win the game. But as I said, RB Leipzig, they've been tricky. They can't qualify for the next round. They can only qualify for the Europa League at this stage, but they do need to make sure that they get a result because they are on the same points as Leipzig as Club Bruges at the moment. So Manchester City will be looking to get a win. Once again, could be a very close one, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. Once again, nothing bad versus Leipzig. They've still got the likes of Nkunku, who scored a hat-trick versus Manchester City last time, but once again, just in terms of overall squad depth, I think that is going to be the factor that carries Manchester City through to the next stage. Next up, we've got Real Madrid versus Inter Milan, or International, if you want to call them that. Now, Real Madrid, unfortunately, the likes of Karim Benzema, their main man up front, one of the top contenders for the Ballon d'Or this year, is out with a hamstring injury. So, what's going to happen? Are Real Madrid going to crumble and fall, or are they going to make it through? Look, obviously the likes of Vinicius Jr. has picked up a level this season, but whether he's going to play at the same kind of form that he has without Karim Benzema, I think that could be a different story. Looking at Inter, they've got an injury or two, but you know what? I'm actually going to put through the likes of Inter. Looking at Inter and Real Madrid in terms of their group at the moment, obviously Real Madrid are only 2 points against Inter. Inter could still win their group. And yeah, I actually think that's going to be what happens. I think Inter are going to end up winning their group because, look, nothing bad against Real Madrid. They are a fantastic team. But once again, we haven't seen them enough without Karim Benzema, and I've got a feeling they might struggle. Jumping into the next game, we've got Milan versus Liverpool. Now, obviously, fantastic game last time around. Was a 3-2 win to Liverpool. Obviously, AC Milan ended up scoring first. They ended up bottling it. I feel like that's their Champions League season so far. I really like this AC Milan team. I feel like it's got potential to go a long way. Once again, it is a team that is riddled with injuries. Looking at Liverpool, they are so incredibly strong. And of course, in the Champions League, they seem to be playing Divock Origi more and more lately. And as we know, Divock Origi kind of has a good record in the Champions League.
Having analysed... Yeah.
Don't forget that. Liverpool legend, by the way.
I feel like Liverpool, once again, they are just looking so strong at the moment. Maybe left it till the last minute versus Wolves in the Premier League. As much as I like AC Milan, I do feel like Liverpool are going to take this one in terms of the form that they've been in. But once again, actually, you don't really know because Liverpool's the only team in this group that's already made it to the next stage. They've won their group already. So are Liverpool going to play a strong enough team, or are they kind of going to play a second string team? Actually, no, I didn't think about that initially, to be honest with you. Liverpool might play a very, very weak team. I mean, they've won their group. They are 10 points ahead of Porto in their group in second place. They might play a very, very weak team in order to make it through. You know what? I'm going to put it through. I think AC Milan, in terms of them still needing to progress, they need to get the win where Liverpool have already won their group by a long shot. I actually think AC Milan are going to win this group now. Obviously, they are third in their group at the moment, a point behind Porto, and they are going to need a win. I think AC Milan are going to pull it out of the bag in hindsight. I know, that was very much a roller coaster of emotions. Jumping into the next game, we've got Dortmund versus Besiktas, which, ladies and gentlemen, once again, a dramatic story here. Borussia Dortmund need to get a win. They are 3 points behind Sporting Lisbon. Borussia Dortmund are in third place in their group. Can you imagine Erling Haaland in the Europa League? Well, actually, now thinking about it, we might have Barcelona with their world-class players and Borussia Dortmund with Erling Haaland and players like that in the Europa League. The Europa League might end up being more entertaining than the Champions League this season. Can you imagine how crazy that would be? But looking at Dortmund versus Besiktas, once again, I haven't seen too much of Besiktas so far this season in terms of good quality performances. I feel like when they've got all their players match fit, like their Pjanic and players like that, they perform really, really well. But once again, in terms of overall performances, they are bottom of their group. They haven't picked up a single win or a single point. And I think that's going to continue. I just think Erling Haaland is going to switch on his robot brain. Someone's going to give him a software upgrade. And I think he's going to be a beast in a game like this. He is match fit. He is now uninjured, unlike he was in the previous match week. So yeah, I do believe Erling Haaland and the players like that are going to seriously pick up and really fight for their Champions League spot. I'm going to give Borussia Dortmund a 3-0 win. I guess we'll see if that happens. Next up, we've got Ajax versus Sporting, which once again, just the form that these two teams have been in. Obviously, this is first and second place in their group. Sporting Lisbon, once again, their position at risk if Dortmund end up getting a really, really strong win. Looking at Ajax at the moment, once again, they have been brilliant. The likes of Sebastian Haller, the fastest player ever to get 9 Champions League goals. He has been brilliant so far this season. Once again, can he do it against Sporting? Once again, Sporting missing a few players. Obviously, Coates, their centre-back, is out with COVID. They're missing Polina. They are missing a few big players. And I really like Ajax's chances. Once again, they've been brilliant so far this Champions League season. Haven't dropped a single point. And I'm going to give them a 3-1 win. And I think Sebastian Haller, once again, is going to get his 10th Champions League goal this season. He could get his 11th or 12th if he feels like it. Which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, something I didn't quite know about Sebastian Haller is I've always thought of him as a French footballer, but it actually appears that he's played quite a few games for Ivory Coast over the last year or two, which, I mean, if you think about Ivory Coast for the African Cup of Nations coming up in January, the team that they could put forward is going to be insane. They've got Chiesa in the midfield position, they've got Nicolas Pepe, they've got Maxwell Cornet. Obviously, Wilfried Zaha has said that he probably won't be playing for Ivory Coast because he normally gets sick when he's on international duty. But bar that, Ivory Coast could have a bomber squad. And if you want to know, by the way, wink wink, I might be doing quite a lot of African Cup of Nations content come January. Obviously I did it for the Euros, you guys seem to love it, and I'll probably be doing a lot of African Cup of Nations content. I myself am obviously from South Africa. We haven't qualified for the tournament, but I just feel like it could be fun content to watch. Obviously I could be doing what's the best possible squad for Ivory Coast, best possible squad for Senegal, teams like that. And if you guys don't want to miss that content, make sure that you do subscribe down below, because I feel like it could be quite fun content to make. But once again, Sebastian Haller, I feel like could do a serious deal for Ajax. Jumping into the next game, Sporto versus Atletico Madrid. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but Atletico Madrid, bottom of the group in the Champions League. Once again, probably is the group of death. I mean, Liverpool, Porto, AC Milan and Atletico Madrid. Now, as I said, I feel like Milan will win, which does mean if Milan win over Liverpool, that means Atletico Madrid can only qualify for Europa League, but they have to beat Porto to do so. Once again, can you imagine Barcelona, Dortmund and Atletico Madrid in the Europa League? I might be a serious Europa League fan this season. Once again, can Atletico Madrid do it over Porto? Once again, we know how strong their squad can be. I am slightly doubtful though, because looking at Atletico Madrid, they've got a lot of injuries and red cards in terms of their defense, and that could be a major blow. Look, I think they've got a fantastic team, but defensively, they might struggle at the moment, and I feel like a lot of people have seriously underestimated Porto over the last year or two in terms of results that they can get. And do I feel like Porto could get the results versus Atletico Madrid? I think it could genuinely go either way, but once again, I am just going to slightly give it to Atletico Madrid. We've seen a few brilliant moments from them this season, and despite their defensive injuries, I feel like they can pull it out of the bag and still play European football for the rest of the season. Next up, we've got Shakhtar Donetsk versus Sheriff, which, by the way, what a Champions League love story. To think that this team, Sheriff, were at the top of their group stage with teams like Real Madrid and Inter in their group. That is absolutely mental. Obviously, now the best they can do is qualify for the Europa League. I think they can be incredibly proud of the way that they have played. And look, I think they are going to play Europa League either way. They are on 6 points, Shakhtar only on 1 point. So at the end of the day, Sheriff will be playing in the Europa League. Shakhtar obviously out of all European football, so this is really just a match of pride. And the way Sheriff have been playing so far this season, I can see them getting a 3-2 win versus Shakhtar. As I said, it is going to be, you know what? I mean, Shakhtar, once again, they are out of European football. Maybe they don't want to risk injuring their best players. And some of the performances I've seen from Sheriff, I think they can get a comfortable win. Now, next up, we've got Malmo versus Juventus. Now, obviously, Malmo has just won the Swedish league. They're going to be really, really happy about that. Obviously, in terms of moving forward, they can't really get any European football. I mean, obviously, Zenit is still in their group. If Malmo end up getting a win versus Juventus and other results go in their favor, maybe they could play in the Europa League. But I don't know if I see that happening for Juventus. Once again, they're on the same amount of points as Chelsea. They've already qualified for the next round of the Champions League, and we haven't been that convinced of Juventus so far this season. But I do think that they will make it through to the next round regardless, and I'm going to put forward a 2-0 win. Once again, Malmo just finished their domestic league, and between then, obviously, I don't think they'll be playing many domestic games now, obviously, for the rest of the Champions League season. So going to be interesting to see how they keep their fitness up. But as I said, I think Juventus have got this one in the bag. Moving on, we've got Zenit versus Chelsea. Once again, Chelsea have made it through to the next round of the competition, and much like Manchester City, even if they wanted to play their second string team, I mean, it is still an incredibly strong team. I mean, you don't want to play the likes of Eduard Mendy in your goal. You've got the most expensive goalkeeper of all time, just ready to play. You don't want to play the likes of Chilwell. You've got Alonso, even though Chilwell's injured, so maybe that's not the best example. But just the amount of squad depth and strength for Chelsea versus Zenit, I do think that Zenit are going to end up losing this one. Once again, they can look dangerous on the counter-attack, can look sloppy. They do have world-class players in their team, But as I said, just because of how strong Chelsea are as a whole, I expect them to get a win. I mean, let's not forget that they got a 4-0 win versus Juventus in their previous game. I expect them to get the result. Next up, we've got Salzburg versus Sevilla. Now, obviously, I would almost go Sevilla every single day of the week, but Salzburg have been amazing this Champions League season. Also, looking at the likes of Sevilla, they are missing some big names in terms of injuries. They are missing the likes of Navas, Acuna, Lamela. They're missing En-Nesyri, their striker. They are missing a few big names, and that could really cost them. Obviously, as I said, Salzburg has been performing really well this season, despite losing some key players over the summer. And I think Salzburg, despite all the popular predictions over here, it might sound unpopular, but I'm going to give Salzburg a win. I think that they can get a 2-1 win over Sevilla. Let's see what happens. Now, next up, we've got Manchester United versus Young Boys. Obviously, Manchester United, my team. I mean, in terms of all the groups, only on 10 points, 3 points ahead of Sevilla on 7, or of Villarreal on 7 points. I mean, we could not win the group. We might come second in the group, but either way, we've qualified for the next round of the Champions League. Now, versus Young Boys, obviously, I mean, it's going to haunt me forever, but we did lose to them in our first Champions League game this season. Obviously, it was not promising. It was not a great game. But looking at Manchester United versus Young Boys, Manchester United have been terrific ever since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer left, which makes me sad to say. I really did like him as a person, as a player, as a manager, but Ralf Rangnick, that performance that we had in our previous game versus Arsenal, I mean, it was just absolutely beautiful. Or Crystal Palace, should I say. We played really well under him. The intensity was there. We looked brilliant. We've gotten results versus Chelsea and Arsenal once again since Ole has left. Manchester United are actually looking really good. I mean, it might just sound like I'm a biased Manchester United fan, but guys, my team hasn't been great for a really long time. Just let me be happy about it. And I believe Manchester United could get a result versus Young Boys. Young Boys, once again, just riddled with injuries. And I think Manchester United can get a 2-0 win. The way that they played versus Crystal Palace in terms of the intensity that they brought to the game defensively didn't look too bad either. David De Gea has been in top form, although maybe Henderson will get the nod for a game like this. Once again, through to the next stage. Don't have to play your strongest team, but I think there's still pride in winning the group, and I think Manchester United will do so. Next up, we've got Atletico Madrid versus Villarreal. Now, obviously, both of these teams can still qualify for the next round of the Champions League. Whoever wins between Atletico Madrid and Villarreal will go through to the next stage. Now, looking at Atletico Madrid, obviously, of Atalanta, they haven't had their best Champions League season, I would say. Look, they've still had some top performances. I think Zapata, when he is on form, is brilliant. Villarreal, obviously, they've got strength absolutely everywhere in their team. Maybe haven't been performing as well as they did last season. And if they end up being in the Europa League at the end of the day, I mean, that's always a competition that they could win, despite the other competition that I mentioned earlier could drop down. Between Villarreal and Atletico Madrid, I genuinely do believe it could go either way. You can see that by the popular predictions. And I believe it could end up going to be a draw, but on the attacking front, what I've seen from Villarreal this season, I am going to give them a 2-1 win. Their attack can be so deadly and so scary. Next up, we've got Benfica versus Dynamo Kiev. Once again, a lot of pride here for the likes of Benfica, because if Barcelona or if Bayern Munich beat Barcelona, which of course looks highly likely, and Benfica win their game, Benfica are through to the next stage. So Benfica will be looking to give it their all. Yes, once again, a team with a few injuries, but versus Dynamo Kiev, I do expect them to get the win. And obviously, I mean, it all goes down to the wire, as I said, for some of these teams. Benfica need to win this if they want to knock out Barcelona out of the Champions League. And as I said, Kiev, although I love their goalkeeper, I like Bushchan, he's a brilliant goalkeeper in terms of the attacking front, their counter-attacking ability. Kiev can be brilliant, I just think Benfica have this one. Next up, once again, you know what? Actually, I'm going to leave Bayern Munich versus Barcelona to be the last game that I predict. Let's look at Wolfsburg versus Lille first. Now, looking at this group as a whole, I mean, you've got Lille, Salzburg, Sevilla, and Wolfsburg. I mean, top of the group, Lille, 8 points. Wolfsburg, bottom of the group with 5 points. Any team here can still qualify in this group for the Champions League. Literally, any team could still place anywhere within this group, which is insane. I mean, if Wolfsburg beat Lille, and other results go certain ways. I mean, we could see Wolfsburg, although bottom of the group now, win their group. But unfortunately, Wolfsburg haven't been that excellent this season. Lille, once again, have definitely had their sloppy moments, are top of the group, so they have been in better form in terms of the Champions League, although have only gotten 8 points from a possible 15. I am going to give Lille the points in this one. Or you know what, actually, I think it's going to be a draw. I think this group has been so close that I'm going to put it down to a draw. And that, ladies and gentlemen, takes us to our final game, Bayern Munich versus Barcelona. Now, of course, Lewandowski will be looking for some major revenge, especially because he's just lost the Ballon d'Or to Lionel Messi, a former Barcelona player, which I think Barcelona fans will be desperately trying to remind Lewandowski that he doesn't play for them anymore. But at the end of the day, we know how tough of a game this can be for Barcelona specifically. They have not been in great form for a very, very long time under the likes of Xavi. They haven't looked that bad. Actually, they've looked better than Ronald Koeman. Have still lost games where they shouldn't have, like Real Betis. Looking at Bayern Munich, once again, top of the Bundesliga. They've just beaten Borussia Dortmund. We all remember that 8-2 win between Bayern Munich and Barcelona last time around. And I do think, although Bayern Munich are through to the next stage of the competition, once again, they might be looking to sit down Barcelona and not give them a chance whatsoever, because obviously if they knock Barcelona out now, that obviously decreases the chances that they can play them later in the competition. Looking at it, Bayern versus Barca, as you can see, no one seems to be giving Barcelona a chance. I mean, Barcelona might be able to do so. I mean, as I said, Memphis Depay has been brilliant this season. As I said, it all depends on whether Bayern Munich put forward their strongest team. Could we be seeing Barcelona in the Europa League? I mean, that is what will happen if Benfica win and Bayern Munich destroys them. This is actually a very, very tricky one at the end of the day. Unfortunately, Barcelona, as much as I would like to make it some sort of dream comeback story where you're back in the Champions League and then get knocked out later on in some stage, which we know what will happen. Unfortunately, I don't know how much faith I have in Barcelona, and I am going to give Bayern Munich a 3-2 win. I feel, a 32 win. I mean, with Lewandowski and his current anger, he might get 32 goals. But yeah, I feel like it will be a 2-2 result all the way till the final minutes. Then I think Bayern Munich will just snatch all hope away from Barcelona. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it for my Champions League Round 6 prediction video. Once again, it all goes down to the wire for some of these Champions League teams. It is going to be insanely intense, and it has been a very entertaining Champions League season so far. Once again, in terms of the winners of the Champions League this season, I feel like there are definitely a few really strong contenders. In terms of teams that could drop down to the Europa League, as I mentioned, Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund, teams like that could be in the Europa League. Atletico Madrid. I mean, we could see some insane European football. But guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Once again, if you're not subscribed and you want to see more content like this, do subscribe down below. As I said, coming in within the next few weeks, I could be starting to do some African Cup of Nations content. I've obviously got Premier League predictions. I've got Champions League predictions, all of that kind of content. So that if that does appeal to you, it only does make sense that you do subscribe down below. Once again, as I said, subscribe, like, all of the good things can get this video to 20 likes. Guys, this has been fun. FYNN, the Champions League just got real.